What's up to all of my Scorpios out there? Welcome to Pulse of the Cosmos. I am your astrologer, Emily, and today we are going to be taking a look at the astrology surrounding this full moon happening in Pisces. So this is going to be happening on September 1st, 2nd of 2020, depending on where you are in the world. And for you guys, my Scorpios, this is going to be happening in your 5th house. So this is your 5th house of romance, of love, of creativity, pleasure, self-expression, and it's in beautiful aspect to Uranus over there in Taurus. So Uranus is in Taurus, your 7th house. This is the house of relationships, partnerships, projects you're involved in. And this sextile energy is really working together to connect you with those relationships in your life and those people in your life that really are expanding your world. With Venus over there in your 9th house, especially, this is a 9th house of expansion. This is a 9th house of opportunities. And Venus is trying to attract relationships to you that are going to help expand your world into these new places, an opportunity to grow. But are you holding yourself back in some kind of way? Or are you keeping yourself involved in relationships, partnerships, or projects that kind of feel almost dud now, where there's not stimulation? Saturn is over there in your 3rd house, and Venus is in opposition to Saturn in Capricorn for this full moon. And with Saturn in the 3rd house, there can also be blocks around communications. If you're feeling blocks in certain relationships, look if you're really communicating what you want and what you need and what you desire into the relationship. Look to see if there's communication there, because if nobody knows what's going on, if there's no opportunity to communicate, there's no opportunity to grow, and it does kind of turn into one of those dud feeling, non-stimulating relationships. So you really want to be cautious about where you're directing the intensity of your emotion into relationships, and make sure that we're feeding those ones that are positive and that have that kind of growth element factor, and that aren't restricting you in some way, or aren't just distracting you from all of the growth available to you. It could not even not feel like a totally oppressive situation, or you couldn't feel like you're like totally trapped or blocked in, but it's almost just like, I know there's better. I know there's better out there for me. And that's what you Scorpios need to get out and explore. And if you're in a relationship, it can be even be exploring within that relationship how you want to expand together while maintaining your individuality throughout the process. But in any case, let's see here. I want to peek into the cards, and one more thing. This the sun is going to be trining Uranus for this full moon as well, and when we're looking at a full moon in Pisces, bringing up such heightened intuition, right, with this full moon in Pisces, where you're really feeling like you're being called to listen to your intuitive processes, and there's kind of little nudges into different directions along the way for you there, well, your perception will be heightened as well. When we have the sun trining over to Uranus, there's a heightened awareness and a heightened mental perception. So there's almost a marriage between these two qualities, intellectual and your intuition and your perception kind of coming together to open up your life to some of these new opportunities and directions that you're ready to expand into, my Scorpios out there. But in any case, let me see here. I'm going to pull from the cards for you guys. The Hermit is what we have pulled first. The Emperor is what came up next. And then we pulled the Queen of Swords coming up next. So this is an interesting dynamic of cards to get for you guys. We have the Hermit coming up first. And so a lot of my Scorpios out there might be feeling like you've been kind of really introspective lately, even kind of on your own, being a hermit, maybe even going through some deep internal work. I know as my Scorpios love to kind of even go deep within the subatomic parts of themselves and do shadow work even. A lot of you might have been feeling very inward, looking a lot of that stuff within yourself. And this is kind of in preparation and opening up to these new opportunities of expansion through the partnerships and relationships and people in your life that's going to really take your world to new places. But we've got to make sure that we're not restricting ourselves in some way. We pulled the Emperor card coming up next. So this could be you putting some kind of boundary or restriction around yourself, or maybe this is some relationship or person or situation in your life that is really, maybe it's making you feel alone. Maybe it's isolating you. Maybe all these feelings of restriction or even oppression or feeling bound by certain laws or regulations, and not even necessarily laws and regulations, but to metaphorically connect that to relationship, but just kind of even rules within the relationship where you're just like, this doesn't match with my ideals. This isn't what I want. I feel like this is blocking me from growth, and we're turning introspective to kind of go there. I actually think these two cards are kind of coming up in a positive aspect with each other, like needing to go inward to look at the spaces within yourself and outside of yourself that are really restricting you. And it's really bringing you that sense of inner truth and inner knowing. The Queen of Swords, she has this really deep sense of inner truth. And there's almost even a sense of sorrow to the Queen of Swords. And she's kind of alone as well. She's alone, much like this hermit. She's kind of stepped back from everything that's going on around her and disconnected to see the truth as a conscious observer. And she's still receptive. She has her hand out. She's receptive to the communication and to listening to other people and to hearing what's going on. But she's also kind of removed to listen as a conscious observer and divine those insights and divine those truths out of this situation of things that might be holding you back and where you might need to be disconnected. And it might feel a little bit sorrowful, but it's opening you up as this hermit comes out of his inward journey. We're moving into spaces where you are going to be able to expand and, like a magnet, kind of attract that love and that creativity and that beauty and abundance that you want in your life. This is a really, really positive full moon for you guys. But in any case, I love you guys all so, so much. I hope you're doing well out there, and I will be back next time.